All right, Lori back, and we are back with our Gamers Inc. problem, and we've got our original worksheet that we did together. Now we're going to do the copying part. So we're going to Control C, and we're going to create a second worksheet, go up to our triangle and hit Control V. We're going to do this over and over again very quickly, if I have any luck. And we're going to create a total of 7 worksheets because that is what the document says we're going to need. Wonderful. Okay, we've got 7, and we know that this is going to be called best. We know this is going to be called worksheet worst. This is going to be sensitivity 1. I'm just going to call it 1 and 2, 3, and 4 for the sake of brevity. Let's go to our best. Now we were smart enough to put our adjustment to units sold right in our very first one. So the very first thing we want to do is change our title so that we know which one we're working with. I like to make it all caps so it's very easy to see. And we're going to take the 100% and we're going to go to our best scenario, which is 120%, and see what happens with our net present value. And obviously if sales get better, our present value, which was $69,000, and our IRR, which was 6.92, and our return on investment, which was 20, now moves to 683, 14.71, and 44. All good numbers. So the upside looks good for us. I'm going to highlight very briefly in orange what I've changed here so that it's very easy to see when I come back to the sheet. Now we're going to come to this one, and I'm not sure why. We've lost our title, Gamers Inc., so we'll copy it over. Control B, and we'll call this worst. On the worst scenario, which is number 3, we're going to take our sales down 20%, and when we decrease sales by 20%, we take 100% minus 20% to get 80%. We simply input 80 there, highlight it so we know what we changed. Let's look down. Ooh, not so good. Negative net present value, negative internal rate of return, ugh, and even a negative ROI. So we are pretty sensitive to the level of sales, and a 20% swing can either make our numbers very positive or, in this case, very negative. All right, let's go to scenario or sensitivity analysis 1. We're going to label it 1. And this call asks us, what happens if our finance people increase our cost of capital to 8%? Well, it was 6%. Let's take it to 8% and see what happens. Ooh, not good. Remember, we were at a positive 69,879, and if we take our cost of capital up, we're going to go to a negative 78,000. Our internal rate of return is going to be 6.92, which is below our cost of capital or below our threshold, so that says we wouldn't do the project. And still our ROI, because it's undiscounted and unaffected by this 8% rate, remains at 20%. And that's one of the problems with ROI, is that it ignores the time value of money or the value of money today over the value of money out in the future. So that is a problem with ROI, but many companies still use it. Let's go on to scenario 2. We'll label this one 2. Try and make that big. Capitals, great. And in scenario 2, our NPV and ROI are going to be changed because we went 10% over budget, and our outlay went to $3,300,000. This is not unusual. It's very important when planning your marketing budget that you give yourself a little contingency fund, because as you can see, by taking our advertising, our outlay, up just $300,000, we push ourselves to a negative NPV, an IRR that is below the 6%, which suggests we wouldn't do the project, and our return on investment is only 9%. Still a positive number because it is ignoring the time value of money. But both indicators that utilize time value of money tell us we would not be doing this project. So let's go ahead and highlight what we changed here. I'm going to pop back to 1 and make sure I changed that. I did not, or highlighted it, so we know what we changed. Let's go to 3. 3 says what happens if we reduce our price in year 4 to $35. So let's do that. And our price in year 5 to $30. $30. We'll highlight both of those cells so we can quickly pop back and see what we changed. We'll call this 3. And it turns our net present value negative pretty darn quickly, so that is not a good thing to do. We need to hold our pricing. That's what that tells us. And our IRR is again below our threshold. Our ROI still positive at 3.33%. So if we were using ROI and our company was okay with a 3% return on investment, we would be able to go ahead with the project. It's important to know how your company is going to assess your projects. And finally, number 4, sensitivity 4, we're going to take our incremental variable cost to 1650. And we're going to take that right across here. Let's highlight it so we know what we changed in orange. And let's go ahead and label this 4. So we know when we print it out what we're working with. I'm making sure I labeled it 3. Yep. All right, and here we go. A negative net present value, an IRR that's below our threshold of 6%, and yet a positive ROI. So you can see that ROI does not give us probably the most accurate indication of whether to move forward with a project or not. But it is a very easy to calculate and quick proxy, and that is why a lot of companies like to use it. That's it for this video.